here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson we're going to show you how to play Runaway Train by Soul Asylum. The tune is quite straightforward, just a few chords and a strumming pattern, so if you need any extra help with it along the way, please check out our ebook covering rhythm guitar. There's a link down below that goes over all the fundamentals, all the basics of rhythm guitar. So if you have any trouble with the chord shapes or the strumming pattern, please check that out and that might help you out a bit. Anyways, we're going to get started with the chord shapes, and to play the verse we need 4 chords. Our first chord is a C major chord. And for C, avoid the lowest string. You can do that just by getting your thumb lightly over the top so that it mutes it. Our next chord shape is G over B. And for G over B, you want to mute the lower string as well. If you look at this shape, it looks pretty much like a G chord, except we're not playing that low G note. Our lowest note is actually that note, which is B. So we put our thumb over the top to mute that string. That's our lowest note now. G over a B bass note. So G over B. Then we have A minor. And for A minor, once again, you want to avoid that lower string, so we can use our thumb over the top. And then a regular G chord. Before we get into the strumming pattern, let's just practice strumming through these downstrokes only, just to get the chord order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. So we're doing 2 measures of each chord. Do all that one more time. Alright, now that we have the chords worked out, we can take a look at the strumming pattern, which goes like this. So before I explain it, I'll show it to you one more time, but a little bit slower. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. So we're starting out with a root strum, which is where we just hit the lower notes of the chord. I'm doing this on a G chord, and just hitting those lower notes. Think of it just like a little strum, you know, we're just getting the low end of it, get the bassy side of the guitar. So root, and then down, up, and then we just do that one more time. Root, down, up, and that's our entire strumming pattern. That fills up 4 beats or 4 downstrokes of worth of time. And if it's still giving you a bit of trouble, we can count it out just thinking about that first half of it, because it's just the same thing over and over again. Just think 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 2. We could slow it down a ton. 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1. It's a pretty straightforward strumming pattern, so just take some time with it and you'll definitely get it. Anyways, now that we've taken a look at the chord shapes and the strumming pattern, let's put that all together and play through the verse of the song. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to play through the pre-chorus, we need two new chord shapes. We have the F chord, and to play F, you can do a bar chord. That's ideal to do the F bar chord. And we actually have a bar chord mini series. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll put a link down below and you can work on some bar chords, work on that finger strength and all the associated techniques. But if you just want a simpler solution, we can actually play our F chord like this. We skip our first string, then we get the first finger on the first fret of the next string, second finger on the third string. So that's what we have so far, those two notes. Then we're going to put our pinky, or our fourth finger, on the third fret of D, put our ring finger just above that, and then we actually lightly touch the lower string with our thumb, and we should be muting the higher string. Just with the underside of this finger, it's just touching both of those. And we get those four notes right there. And that's a pretty good substitute for the F bar chord. It has a good amount of bottom end and it's pretty full sounding. It's not as good as the bar chord, but it's pretty good. It's almost there. Anyways, the other chord that we need for this is one of the simplest chords, E minor. For a lot of you, that might have been the very first chord shape that you learned. And if you need any extra help with those chords, please check out our ebook. It goes over all that stuff in detail. Anyways, let's take a look at the order of the chords in the pre-chorus. We're just going to do downstrokes once again, keeping it simple, starting on an F chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just a couple tips before we add the strumming pattern and play this together. When we're starting out on the F chord, it's actually coming from a G shape in the verse. So the verse ends on a G and then our pre-chorus begins on F. So we're gonna have to change from G to F. And the second chord of the pre-chorus is also a G. So it's a really good idea to work out your switch from F to G a few times. Just isolate the trouble spots. So just F, and then G. Test each string. On the F, make the switch. Test them out on G and just go back and forth between those two chords, building up that muscle memory for the switch. And that'll help make your chord switching more efficient. It'll build up some good muscle memory, so try that out if you have any trouble switching through the chords in the pre-chorus. Anyways, once you're good with that, we can play it together nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. The chorus is really simple. It's pretty much exactly like the verse, except instead of playing G over B, we're playing E minor. That's it. That's the only difference. So it's pretty straightforward. Let's just try it together with the strumming pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we end up playing the chorus 3 times throughout the song, and it's a little bit different every time. The very first time we play it, we just go through the chorus once, and then we play a G chord with the strumming pattern one more time, and then we just do a big downstroke on G. Just like that, just like a accented downstroke, a bit louder than usual. So that kind of just adds a little bit extra G to the end of the first chorus. The second time we do the chorus, we play through it once with the words, and then we play through it again, and there's a guitar solo over it, and then they play through the chords from the pre-chorus. So it's like chorus with words, then chorus plus pre-chorus with guitar solo. And then the third time we do the chorus, we just repeat it twice, and that's the whole tune. So that's how you play Runaway Train by Soul Asylum. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It's a bit of a simpler one, but it's still worth working out those chord switches. You gotta get to the point where all those things are just like the back of your hand. You can just make your chord switches super efficiently. Make sure that you count out the rhythm. You want to have nice, tight timing. A good challenge for yourself, or a good test to know if you really got it, is if you can play along with the recording. And then once you can play along with the recording, seeing if you can play along with a metronome set to the same tempo as the recording. Because that way you'll be able to hear if it was the recording doing all the work, or if it was you keeping down your rhythm and making the chord switches at the right time. So I recommend trying it that way, practicing it yourself with this video a bit slower, and then going to the recording, practicing it with the recording, then doing it with the metronome, because you want to have this stuff ironed out 100%. Basic chords, basic strumming, every guitar player who's worth his salt can do this stuff pretty easily. So this is how you get there. Anyways, I hope you have a good time practicing this one, and I'll see you next week.